How's it going, everybody? I'm Shadow Stitch, and I like solo running Pokemon Black and White. So yesterday, I played with Superior. This was the first of the starter re-ranks for kind of like my anniversary celebration in a way. And I fully broke down that run and all of the little intricacies that went into it. So definitely go check that out if you want. I think it was one of the better videos that I've made, and it just went over a lot of really cool stuff. So as we bring in the tier list, we do see that I was not able to push it under that sub 120 barrier, but I still feel incredibly proud of that run, and I think it was very good justice for Superior. So yeah, definitely really interested in seeing what you guys think about that. I'm just, recording these obviously back to back before the videos come out, but I think it was a pretty good one. So anyway, today though, we are going to be continuing with the starter trio, of course, with Emboar. So this Pokemon is absolutely incredible. I know a lot of people do clown on third firefighting in the row and all that fun stuff, but I always have thought it was better than some of the other ones. I do think that Blaziken is a little worse, but Infernape is a little bit better. I don't know, there's just something about it. I definitely like Emboar a lot more than Blaziken, I'll be completely honest with you, and it's just a really cool design. It of course did get a Mega in Legends Z8. We're not going to touch on the Mega today, that will get its own thing eventually, but Emboar is incredible, and it has a lot of great history with a speedrunning context. Of course, this was the initial go-to for the traditional speedrun. It did change over time for reasons that we'll touch on later, but I have very high hopes for Emboar in a solo running context because of that. So this Pokemon is set up for success, much like Superior yesterday, and I'm really looking forward to it, so let's go ahead and get into it. You see the rules on screen. There's more niche stuff down in the description below, and while you're down there, if you like these Pokemon Black and White solo challenges, feel free to hit that subscribe button. And with that said, let's go ahead and get into it and see how the Emboar-line does a whole year later in Pokemon Black and White. So today with Emboar, of course, we are going to be going into a lot more detail than my initial run, because of course this is a full-on re-rank. I don't think we're going to go as far as with Superior, because there is a lot less nuance than with the Superior run, but this will most likely be a far more in-depth video than I usually do, and most likely a bit longer. So anyway, as we do our starter battles right here, we are going to be taking the Tepig out of the box, but we have our own preloaded, so we can have perfect stats and all that fun stuff. So anyway, let's break down what we're working with today with Tepig. So this Pokemon, it doesn't look incredible right from the start. Sure, we have a decent HP and attacking stat, but 45 in everything else is just kind of mediocre. However, 63 attack is still pretty good for a first stage. It does have the medium slow growth rate and the pure fire typing to start off with, but that will change over time. Blaze is going to be our ability as usual with fire type starters. It ups the power of fire type moves by 50% if I'm at a third HP or less, so pretty useful. As for our starting moveset, we are going to be starting off with Tackle and Tail Whip. We pick up Ember at 7, and then a bunch of other kind of useless moves until we get to level 15 for Flame Charge, and this is going to be a big one for sure. We get a couple other useful moves along the way, but most importantly, we will evolve at level 17 into Pignite, and this is where the firefighting comes into play. It also gets a nice little bump to its special attack as well, but we probably aren't going to be using that quite yet, but a pretty significant increase to attack and HP to 90 and 93 respectively. Also at level 17, because we do gain the fighting typing, we are going to learn arm thrust, which is incredibly useful for sure. We will eventually get things like rollouts, even though I don't think it's that great. Takedown, but no thanks. We already had to deal with slam yesterday. I don't want to deal with recoil plus bad accuracy. And then it gets its signature move in a way in Heat Crash. This is a pretty interesting move. We'll touch on it later. And then at level 36, it learns Assurance and will also evolve up into its final form, Emboar. And this Pokemon is absolutely incredible. Sure, it is a little bit slow. 65 base speed is a little bit under what you typically want for a top tier solo Pokemon, but it makes up for that with an incredible HP stat of 110, a decent special attacking stat of base 100, and an incredible 123 base attack. So sure, it may not be the fastest thing in the world, but it is going to hit really hard, and what do you know, it learns Flame Charge to fix those speed problems, so that's great. It picks up Flamethrower at 43, Head Smash for some more recoil moves at 50, Roar, probably not going to be useful, and of course Flare Blitz as its final coup de grace at level 62. So yeah, this Pokemon has a lot of things going for it. I do want to mention though, it does learn Hammer Arm as a relearn move. I don't think that we're going to need that today, but it is something still to mention. As for the TM side of things, this Pokemon has a very interesting TM move pool. Of course, it gets things like Return, Brick Break, Bulldoze, and stuff like that, things you would expect. But then it also gets like Grass Knot, it gets Scald for some reason, a fire type, and a fire type starter getting Scald. So weird, but I love it, and that's just really cool. Definitely think we're really going to be looking into the physical side a lot more, obviously with a Pokemon this physically oriented, but it's still really cool to have some great options, especially on the special side with a decent special attacking stat. So Emboar though looks to be absolutely set up for success. We are going to be also running an Adamant Nature today, boosting our attack at the cost of that special attack, but I think it will be perfectly fine. So let's go ahead and get into the run. We are going to battle all of the trainers on Route 2. Bianca is of course not really too much to talk about, and then I'm going to head into the Dream Yard. I am going to battle all the trainers in here for a little bit of extra experience, and this time actually skip grabbing the monkey. Sorry I lied to you guys yesterday. But after that, we are going to go ahead and face off with Cheren. This fight is actually pretty intricate in a small way. We want to make sure that we avoid two things, the Berry and Oshawott Torrent. Because of that, we are going to go for a tackle into a tail whip into another tackle. This sets up the damage just right so we can knock out the Oshawott, and of course the Purloin in the back isn't going to be a problem. We're going to stop by the Pokemon Center because we are running very low on tackle PP, and we can also deposit the Tepic that we grabbed earlier, so we are set up for a potential blackout if we need it. So as we make our way through the gym, these trainers aren't really too bad. We pretty much just 2 or 3 shot all of them without too many problems. So let's go ahead and face off with our first gym leader. We face off with Crest today, and of course we are able to actually use a Oranberry this time. So this fight is a little bit intricate. We are going to start up with a single tail whip into a tackle onto the Lillipup. This is a roughly 80%, I believe it was, range to 2-shot. After that, we are going to go into the Panpour, and this is a much nastier range. We are going to have to go for 2 tail whips. Hope that we can take all of the damage that it might be coming our way, because we need to go for 2 tackles. This is a worse range than the one on the Lillipup, and in my experience doing these runs, it's roughly a 50-50 chance if you're able to win this battle first try. Thankfully though, today we just barely lived the follow-up water gun after a couple workups on 2 HP, and we are able to win this fight first try, giving us a massive advantage for the rest of this run. So after that, let's get contracted by Fennel for a little bit of science work, head into the Dream Yard, grab our monkey, cut down a tree, and then take care of the plasma dudes before we head out towards Route 3. We're going to do a little bit of training here in the preschool. The preschoolers have a decent experience, but they also like to paralyze you with lick on occasion, which is just annoying more than anything. It's not really that big of a deal. So we're also going to grab the Ultra Ball in the sandbox, and after this little training, we are going to be just barely off of level 17, but I don't think that we're really going to need it for Cheren. After healing up at the house, we're going to go ahead and face off with him. I want to go for a couple of tail whips into tackles, but I kind of accidentally misclick Odor Sleuth. It doesn't really matter too much. It just means that I have to risk it a little bit more by putting him into torrent range with a tackle, but it's not too bad, and we can still win this fight pretty easily. And we gained level 17, where of course we are going to evolve after the battle into Pig Knight and learn arm thrust. So that is fantastic for some of the upcoming fights that we got. And then we're going to head into the Wellspring Cave, clear out the plasma dudes, catch our usual HM friends in Woobat and Roggenrola, grab a glitched rare candy in the grass, and then head into Nakreen City. In Nakreen, Cheren's going to hook us up with those Chesto berries. They're not going to be quite as useful today, but this charcoal that we get from the girl over here by telling her we got a Tepig definitely will be. After that, we head into Pinwheel Forest. I'm going to grab an Ether, pop a Repel, and equip that charcoal. Then we are going to teach Workup, because Pig Knight learns this move. This, of course, is an incredible setup move, boosting our attack and special attack by 1 stage, and getting it this early on is insane. So after taking care of the nurse for that healing spot, we're going to head inside. We are going to bypass Kita, which is a little bit unfortunate. Him and his 3 pan pores are probably the best experience in here, so being able to miss out on him is a little unfortunate, but I thought that he was a little bit too inconsistent. I could have set up like Workup into arm thrust, but if he crits and like speed drops with a bubble beam or something like that, that could definitely be a little bit too dangerous. And honestly, Pig Knight doesn't need that much experience. So after taking care of the black belts in the back, we grab our netball, get a 100% catch on a temple as we're leaving, and then we can deposit our team in Nakreen City, take care of N outside of the gym. We just set up a workup or 2 and power our way through without any problem, and we can make our way through. Nothing to really speak of in the gym. We're just going to spam arm thrust and flame charge very easily, and we can face off with Lenora. Much like Servine yesterday, there are 2 ways to somewhat consistently win this fight. Intimidate does affect us quite a bit more because, of course, we are using our physical attack, but that's not too bad because we can, of course, counteract it with Workup. So we are going to be going for 2 workups. Now, this is where the strategy deviates. If she chooses to go for 2 takedowns, we are put into Blaze, and that is fantastic. It's a free fight. However, if she does not, we are going to have to go for a flame charge to knock out the Herdier, and because we need to outspeed the Watchog in the back. We don't do that naturally thanks to us just having lower speed. However, that's where the inconsistency comes in, because now we have to go for arm thrust at +1 attack, and we have to hit 3 times to knock out the Watchog. However, today she just goes for 2 takedowns. We're able to go for a blaze boosted flame charge to knock out the Herdier, get that speed boost, and with the blaze boost we are able to easily one-shot the Watchog in the back thanks to that extra power from our ability. So yeah, very nice that we were able to get what I would consider the more consistent of the two strategies, but it's nice to have options nonetheless depending on how the fight goes. So anyway, let's go ahead, see the plasma dude steal a skull for some reason, and head into Pinwheel Forest. We're going to pick up only a couple of extra trainers, but along the way I actually even get a free Autono. Thank you so much. I wasn't trying to get it, but I will take the good experience. And then I'm going to actually knock out those trainers on the bridge like I talked about yesterday. So you really only want to do these if you really need the experience for Burgh, or you're planning to come back here for the rare candy. If you wait to do these later, sure, you might be able to easily one-shot them, but the experience doesn't go as far because of the way that the experience works in Generation 5, which we might touch on later. Depends on if I want to put it in this video or another one. So anyway, after crossing that gorgeous Skyrim bridge, we can head into Castelia City, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We're going to go straight to the gym. We need absolutely nothing in the city, so let's go ahead and do this. The only thing notable in the entire gym is we did get poisoned thanks to one of the Venipede's poison points, but that's honestly kind of okay. It just wastes a tiny bit of time because we needed to heal up our PP for Flame Charge anyway before we go ahead and face off with Burgh. Alright, let's do this, Burgh. This is going to be nice and easy peasy. Nothing to think about, unlike Servine yesterday. We just click a couple of flame charges. We do get sand attacked by the Dwebble, which is a little bit annoying, but not that big of a deal. And thanks to all of those flame charges, we are now faster than these Levani, and we get our 3rd gym badge. Very easy. Let's head out of here, meet up with Bianca in the gatehouse. Not really too much to talk about here. I will show the entire fight, but we are just going to set up 2 workups and then just completely sweep her with some flame charges and arm thrust. Very easy fight. I did forget to mention that we picked up the Eviolite on our way out of town, and that is what we're going to be switching over here right now before the upcoming Cheren fight. We don't really need the charcoal. The boost to our defenses rather right here is going to be much more important, because as we face off with this pit up, we do have to set up a couple of workups. This fight can actually potentially be very scary thanks to critical hit air cutters. We do get brought very low, but thankfully his DeWatt wants to play nice with us today. He's just going to go for a water sport, so we're able to knock him out with 2 arm thrusts, and then everything else in the back is going to go down to arm thrusts without too much risk. So that could have definitely been very scary, and honestly I have lost more than 1 run at that fight while making this video because of just really bad air cutter luck, which is kind of unfortunate. So anyway, let's go ahead and head into Nimbasa City. After chasing off the plasma dudes, we get a bike from the old guy, have a quick chat with Bianca, and then we are set free into Nimbasa. You already know, first things first, we're going to stop by that Pokemon Center, grab the TM for a return, giving us a fantastic neutral coverage option as long as we need it, so that's great. I'm also going to go ahead and pick up some Hyper Potions and then teach that return, top off at the Pokemon Center, and then it's going to be time for our lovely little Ferris wheel ride date with N. Not too much to talk about his fight. We are just going to set up a couple workups. It's pretty easy to set up on the Sandile. All we have to worry about is maybe a Mud Slap coming out, but we don't have to worry about that today, and we can easily sweep him without too many problems. As we make our way through the gym, we cut it actually incredibly close against Magnolia, which is just really annoying because she should be one of the easier fights, but Static is just the worst. So yeah, that really sucks, but we're still able to win. Along the way here, we also get to level 31, where we are going to be learning our signature move, Heat Crash. It's not going to come into play right now, but we will touch on it later. It's a pretty neat move. So anyway, after healing up all of our paralysis and all that nonsense, let's go ahead and face off with Elisa. Alright, let's do this, Elisa. So she's going to lead off with the Emolga. It does have Aerial Ace, but thanks to our Eviolite, we're able to tank the hits pretty well. We do need 2 workups, so then we can one-shot the Emolgas with Flame Charge. The first Emolga, thankfully, we dodge a Static, but we can't on the second one, which is unfortunate because now the Zepstrika will outspeed us. We are able to still tank the Spark relatively well, though, and we can finish it off with a Return because that has higher effective power right now than Flame Charge, so that's great. Very nice. That could have been a little bit annoying. I do suggest that you save for that fight regardless, because Static can really mess you up, but we're still able to win very easily. Let's do a little bit of Pokemon dress up with Bianca and then meet up with Cheren over on Route 5. Once again, Cheren's going to be just annoying today by going for Torment. We need to get 2 workups, but Torment is just going to say no. We're going to knock out the Liepard anyway, and then get my second Torment onto the Duat. I was pretty high health, so I felt pretty comfortable taking a hit anyway, and then we could just one-shot everything with a combination of Return and Flame Charge in the back. Pretty easy. Let's go ahead and beat up some toddlers and head into Driftvale City. Pretty standard cold storage. We're going to grab the PP up in the trash can and pop a repel and use that on Flame Charge. This is going to end up being our more spammable move, so we are wanting to top that off with good PP. After that, of course, we are going to grab the Ether and Protein in the grass and then head inside. I do need to mention this is where we could have grabbed the TM4 Scald. Unfortunately, though, I forgot to grab it in this run, and that was actually kind of a mistake, and we'll touch on why later, which is just really unfortunate. So anyway, after clearing out the plasma dudes in the container, we can head into the market where we will grab a heart scale and the expert belt, which is pretty nice, before heading into the gym. The gym trainers aren't too bad. The Palpito does live a hit, but that's okay, and we can go ahead and use our single rare candy once we hit level 35 to evolve up into Emboar just in time to face off with Clay. Now with Emboar, this fight is incredibly simple. Flame Charge with that Charcoal boost is going to get the one-shot on the Crocroc. A Return is going to drop the Palpitoad and leaving just his Excadrill, which we now outspeed, and Flame Charge is going to finish that off. Very easy. Wipe my hands. Let's go ahead and talk about Heat Crash. So this move is really cool. So this is a fixed damage move. That's why the AI chose not to go for it in our fight against Cheren at Twist Mountain yesterday. So the AI doesn't like fixed damage moves, but I certainly do. So Emboar is a chunky boy. He comes in at a whopping 330 pounds or 50 kilograms if you are of that persuasion. So anyway, though, because of that, the higher our weight is compared to our opponent, the more damage Heat Crash is going to do, maxing out at 120 base power. So this move is very well used by Emboar. It's not going to come into play too much in this run, I'm not going to lie, but it is still an incredible move for the Emboar-line to use, because the majority of Pokemon we are going to have a fairly significant weight advantage over. So let's go ahead and see it in action against Bianca. So yeah, we're going to set up a couple of workups right right here, easily knock out the Herdier and then the her monkey in the back, and then go for a couple heat crashes, easily dominating that Musharna, and of course the Servine is going to be last. No problems right there, which is great. So we did need heat crash to get the one shot onto the Musharna. Charcoal boosted flame charge was not going to quite do it, and I just didn't want to waste too much more time setting up because that Herdier could potentially get critical hits and stuff like that, but that's pretty easy nonetheless. So anyway, let's go ahead, make our way through Route 6. The scientist trainers, not doctors, are very annoying today. Both of them catch me, but we can go ahead and head into Chargestone Cave. Absolutely nothing interesting in Chargestone, but the end fight right here is definitely interesting because we forgot to grab Scald. Unfortunately, the Boldore is so slow to knock out. Definitely one of the biggest misplays. The Scald really helps for N's Boldore specifically right here, and also pretty useful against some of the other Boldores going forward. So because of that, we have to take a long time knocking out this Boldore with Return, because that is going to be our highest effective power at this point. And then Flame Charges for everything else in the back. Thankfully, he doesn't give us too many problems, even though my blunder of accidentally freaking Scald just cost us a decent amount of time. So anyway, let's head into Mistralton City. As I make my way up to the tower, we are going to be grabbing the PP up on the outside there and head inside. Unfortunately, I do accidentally run into two different trainers in the tower, which is unfortunate. They aren't a problem, of course, but I do want to keep mentioning these minor mistakes that I make throughout the run. So anyway, at the top of the tower, we can ring that bell to send Skyla back to the gym and say, hey, thank you guys so much for stopping by and watching this video. I really appreciate it, and I hope you guys are liking the starter series here at the beginning of 2026. So anyway, let's go ahead, make our way through the gym. We're not going to have any problems. Pretty much only the Sigillifts might live a hit, but that's about it. And we can go ahead and face off with Skyla. There is a tiny bit of risk to Skyla. We need to set up a workup and then a flame charge to outspeed. Thankfully, though, the Swoobat is completely incompetent, and she just goes for a couple amnesias, doing no damage to us, although acrobatics does actually kind of hurt a little bit. Emboar has great HP, but not the best defenses, so it's definitely still kind of hurts. So anyway, though, we're still able to get our flame charge off onto the Swoobat. A couple of returns for the stuff in the back easily wins us the fight, and we can get shot out of that cannon and head towards Twist Mountain to face off with Cheren. Cheren is very easy, although Unpheasant can potentially throw a wrench into things. Thankfully today, it just goes for a detect. We're just going to set up a single workup, and we also picked up Flamethrower at the end of the Skyla battle right there. It is going to come in handy, but today is just going to be nice damage to just power right through his team, and we can see Alder's wonderful bionic legs get the HM for Surf and head into Twist Mountain. So very similar to why I wanted Scald, we are going to be using Flamethrower to deal with the Boldores on the mandatory hiker teams right here. So unfortunately, Flamethrower does not have the same high chance to burn like Scald, so we can't bypass the Sturdies nearly as more consistently, but that's okay. Having a quick way to get past those Boldores is really nice. So anyway, as we make our way through, unfortunately, I do run into the Throw Trainer again and a couple other random spinners, but that's okay, and we can pop out on the other side at Icarus City without too much else. In Icarus, we of course are going to stop by the Pokemon Center and grab the TM for Brick Break. This is going to be our new go-to move. We're going to go ahead and teach it over Flamethrower. We have no more mandatory Bouldors that we have to deal with, and I'm pretty sure Brick Break would be able to handle them anyway. Yeah, the Ice-type gym is a complete freebie for us. The only minor annoyance is some of the Cubchoo's liking to go for Endure and wasting our time, but that's about it. Let's go ahead and slap Brycen around a little bit. Alright, let's do this, Brycen. So he leads off with the Vanillish. That is great for us to get the speed boost off of Flame Charge so we can outspeed everything in the back. Bear Tick, we don't need it, but a single Brick Break's going to drop that, and Cryogonal, a Brick Break kills his whole family. So yeah, Brycen, did you really expect anything from him? Of course not. Let's get our 7th gym badge and head into Dragon Spiral Tower. As we make our way through the gauntlet, we can just lock into our first move of Flame Charge, and thanks to all of those PP ups that we picked up earlier, we don't have to top off our PP nearly as often with our Ethers and Elixirs, saving us a bunch of bag time, and that's great. At the top of the tower, we can see N's fancy new dragon and fly on out of here. Before we're heading towards the desert, though, I am going to stop by Driftvale City and pick up the Shell Bell. Now, you might be thinking, why didn't I just grab this on my first trip through Driftvale? Well, this guy, you need to have seen 50 different Pokemon before he will give it to you. This is possible by the time you get to Driftvale, but you kind of have to play into it and battle a couple other optional trainers. So if you don't absolutely need the Shell Bell for something like Skyla or Brycen, it's usually best to just kind of grab it at this point in the game, so in my opinion. So it's pretty quick and it's not that bad, and this item will be very useful later on. Whenever we fly back to Nimbasa City, before heading into the desert, we are going to pick up a bunch of rare candies. Some of these are going to be out of order, but I'm just going to cover all of them that we grabbed in this process today. Anvil Town, Route 16, we pick up the one in the desert after the gauntlet, Route 2 behind a boulder, and the Pinwheel Candy, which we cleared out those trainers much earlier in the game for. As we make our way through the desert, we are actually going to be skipping the fossil. And now, if you watched, say, Scott's Emboar video, you saw him use Fling, where I think that there is a better option, which we will touch on later after we get our funny-looking rock in Nacrene City, because we're going to be flying to Mistralton City using that heart scale that we picked up earlier on and relearn the move Assurance. Return was better for us at that point in the game, so that's why we didn't do it whenever we got here the first time, but Assurance is going to be more useful for us going forward. So after all of that, we can finally meet up with Bianca on Route 8 for her last battle. For Bianca, this is pretty straightforward. We're going to just set up a bunch of workups. We cannot go past 3 because once we hit 3 stages of special attack from our 3 workups, her Stoutland is going to want to go for Roar. So we just get our 3 workups and then go to town. Brick Break onto the Stoutland and the Simipour, and then we have that super effective Assurance boosted by the Expert Belt to knock out the Musharna, and of course a Flame Charge for the Superior at the back. So after that, let's head across the bridge, meet up with Ghetsis and his ninjas, and we can head into Opelousas City and our final gym. As we make our way through this gym, you will notice an item that I have never used before over there on the right, the Macho Brace. This item is absolutely fantastic for this gym. What this item does is it takes the EV yields that you get from a Pokemon and then double them at the cost of having your speed. This is incredible for physical attackers in this gym. Normally, you will gain 30 attack EVs making your way through here because every single Pokemon in this gym gives attack EVs. For a Pokemon like Emboar that is going to be 100% investing into its attack for this in-game, it is fantastic, and I am very much looking forward to, in 2026, optimizing some of these gauntlets where I can effectively use this Macho Brace strategy really well. So anyway, as we make our way through the gym, we are going to end up with 60 attack EVs, which is just absolutely incredible gains for our Emboar right here. The only thing is, of course, we are cutting our speed in half, so we just got to make sure that we pay attention, keep our HP nice and topped off, because we're going to be taking a bit more attacks than we normally would. So thankfully, not even Hugo stands a chance against us today, and we can go ahead and face off with our final gym leader. Of course, we're playing Pokemon White, so we face off with Iris. We're going to set up a single workup and then go for a flame charge, getting some of our speed back. And from there, we're just going to spam some brick breaks. We are still holding that Macho Brace, so we have our speed cut, but thanks to countering that with a single flame charge, we can outspeed even her Haxorus in the back. And there we go. We got our 8th gym badge. Very easy. Let's get on out of here. The fighter on Route 10 here, I do accidentally keep my Macho Brace equipped, but that's actually okay because his Pokemon give speed EVs or attack EVs as well, so that is perfectly fine. Just have to make sure that I remove it before I continue and knock out the rest of the trainers on this route right here. So after all of that extra training, we are going to go ahead and face off with Cheren one last time. Final fight for Cheren, your final chance to throw a wrench into things, and he sure does today. After taunting us so we can't set up any more workups, I am going to go for a flame charge, but he critical hits me with a air slash. Now, later on, I did do some calcs on this fight. I would have won if I just locked into a brick break for the rest of the fight. I did not need this speed boost. In my notes, I said that I needed a speed boost and +2 into attack, but I was just completely wrong. So this was an absolute misplay and definitely cost Emboar a reset and a bunch of time I didn't need. Thankfully, on the follow-up attempt, I don't get crit. I'm able to set up my workups, and then I can go to town with a bunch of brick breaks, finishing off the fight, getting a nice free heal at the end, and then we are going to head into Victory Road. We're not going to do as much training as we did with Superior yesterday, but I will touch on the trainers that we picked up. Of course, we're going to grab the Rare Candy and then battle the Stoutland Ace trainer, the Special Attack Veteran, the Black Belt, and then we are going to hit level 58. After that, we are going to spend 2 Rare Candies to get to level 60 and battle the Doctor. This will line up our experience just like we want it for the end game, and then we can head into the Pokemon League to face down the Elite Four. Caitlin's up first, although I do think this was a minor misplay right here. We are going to start the battle at level 60. If we started at level 61 by going and battling Grimsley first, we would have had a slightly less risky fight right here. It's not going to matter at all for the Reuniclus. We can set up a single workup and easily tank a Psychic, but the Musharna that comes out next, it has a very small chance of living, the +1 assurance at level 60. If we did Grimsley first, we would have been 61. We would have been good, but it doesn't matter today. Assurance is just going to plow through everything. Sigilif, it is fast, but not fast enough. And of course, Gothitelle in the back is going to drop, and we can move on. All right, let's do this Grimsley. So this is a very easy fight. We click Brick Break. The Crocodile comes out, intimidates us. We're faster than it. Doesn't even matter. Liepard wastes our time a tiny bit with Fake Out. Still goes down. And Bisharp is last, 4 times weak to fighting. And there we go. We get to level 62, where we are actually going to learn Flare Blitz over Brick Break, because we don't really need it for the rest of the E4 right here. Pretty interesting. We'll touch on that more in a bit. Chantal is up next though, and she is going to be very similar to what we did with Caitlyn. We have to go for a single workup. Assurance is going to knock out the Cofagrigus. Golurk's going to come in. Assurance for that, no problems, and Jellicent as well. We're going to go for Assurance, and unfortunately we get Curse Bodied, so that kind of sucks. We're going to go for a Flare Blitz, but it does not quite knock out the Chandelure, living barely on the red. However, our health is very low as well. So instead of going for another Flare Blitz, probably missing the knockout, I'm going to go for a Blaze Boosted Flame Charge and then follow up with the Flare Blitz. This is going to do slightly less recoil damage to us, and Emboar's huge HP stat is definitely going to come into play today because we live the recoil damage from knocking out the Chandelure on 3 HP, and we get a little bit sketchy but easy first try win. Marshall is last, and we have switched over to the Charcoal, so we can go for a Flare Blitz on the throw and knock it right out. Sock, we're going to go for an Assurance into a Flame Charge to knock that out, and now we are super speedy. Flare Blitz onto the Conkeldurr, that's going to go down, and we have plenty of health to go for another Flare Blitz onto the Mienshao, winning the fight at low health, but very easily. Let's go ahead, head downstairs, and see how Alder is managing with N. N summons his gigantic castle out of the ground, somehow, and it's going to be up to us to chase him down through it, because of course Alder doesn't have a super OP speedrunning pig. Yeah, you gotta step it up, man. Anyway, as we make our way through the castle, we are going to grab that final rare candy, use all the rest of the ones that we have to get to level 68, reteach Brick Break, equip that Shell Bell, and then it's going to be time for us to face off with the man himself in the throne room. Alright, let's do this, and in theory, this should be a relatively simple fight. Because of all of those rare candies that we have, we now outspeed the Reshiram, which is great. We can set up a single workup and go for a Brick Break. The Caracosta does come out. We can go for a Flame Charge to break his sturdy, but then he critical hits me with a Waterfall, and I'm put into Aqua Jet range. My Shell Bell is not going to help that, and we take a reset. Honestly, this was devastating for me, and I'll be real, I was very upset when this happened. So, yeah, that really sucks. Anyway, on the follow-up attempt, we don't get crit by the Caracosta, and we can finish it off with a Brick Break, and now we are faster than even the Archeops in the back, so just spamming a whole bunch of Brick Breaks is going to very easily win this fight without any problems whatsoever. Ghetsis is going to come in, throw his little tantrum, and then it's going to be up to us to take him down. Our final hurdle is Ghetsis. In my initial Emboar playthrough, I surmised that I needed a separate moveset for Emboar to win this fight, so I had to take the Blackout because I couldn't quite one-shot the Cofagrigus, and I ended up getting Toxic. Today, however, with an entire year of experience and hindsight, I have the strategy to one-shot this Cofagrigus, and it's all because of those extra attack EVs that we picked up in the Dragon Gym. At level 68, we can go for a Flare Blitz, get the one shot on the coffin, absolutely guaranteed, and we can bypass any threat of Toxic. Yeah, I am very proud of how I handled this. Sure, there might be better strategies, training higher experience and stuff like that, but I think that this is by far the best implementation and best improvement of my strategy over any of these runs potentially. So very cool. So anyway, the Bouffalante in the back, we do take a ton of damage, but we can actually use this as our opportunity to set up. We're going to set up a single workup, so we have the attack boost that we need, and then a flame charge, so we have the speed boost that we need for the Hydreigon in the back. We're using our Shell Bell to heal consistently along the way, so we can easily tank his head charge into Earthquake combo and knock him out. After that, it's Brick Breaks all the way down, and we get a very easy first try win against Ghetsis, all thanks to my optimizations and implementations of new strategies. I am so happy. However, though, we do end our time at the end of N's final dialogue, and the timer is still ticking away. We are just going to make this long walk up, have a little chat with N, and unfortunately, we have passed the 1 hour and 20 minute barrier, just barely. I'll be honest with you guys, I am a little bit disappointed in myself for this run. I made a few mistakes, and they cost me this breakpoint right here, this barrier, and especially the cherry on top of it was the N resets, and that kind of almost broke me, and I almost gave up right there. I even broke my rule of playing 3 playthroughs to get this time. This was the best time that I got. I was always just so close, but just something would go wrong at the very end. This was my 4th playthrough, and I had to stop myself. So let's go ahead, wrap up the credits, see the final time, and rank this guy. And there we go, a final in-game time of 4 hours and 19 minutes. This Pokemon is so bittersweet to me. As we bring into the tier list, it does gain the top spot of B tier, but I know absolutely for sure this Pokemon is an A tier Pokemon. I just couldn't do it today. I tried so hard, and in the future, I absolutely will come back and play Emboar again, because it deserves that sub 120 for sure, and it deserves to be a tier above the other starters. But please, let me know down below if you saw any other strategies that could have saved me time. I think I innovated incredibly well on this run, and the Pokemon is very intuitive as well, so there's probably a little bit that I can improve on, but honestly, it just comes down to me playing better on the day. I played a little bit recklessly, and I made some poor decisions in this run, and that cost me that A tier. But it's still very good. I'm still so happy with this run, and I'm still so happy that the strategies that I implemented improved its run significantly, and I'm still happy with the placement that I got it, even though, like I said, it's a little bittersweet. Anyway, though, I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and make sure that you come back tomorrow where we finish off the starter trio, where we're going to be playing with Samurott. That one absolutely needs some redemption. My first Samurott playthrough was horrible. Anyway, that's going to be it for me today, though, guys. Thank you guys so much for stopping by and watching. Like, comment, sub, all that fun stuff. I love you all. Deuces.